All right, so again, make sure our phones are put up. If anyone needs a reminder of their number, I can do that for you. But we need them to be put away just so I get your undivided attention when we take notes. All right, oftentimes I get distracted. Number 7. Mm-hmm. 24. All right, so you should have your English notebook out. We are going to take notes today on evidence review and theme development. So if I was taking notes, remember it is always a take what you need policy. Okay, I'm going to kind of point out here, especially within the evidence review, of what I feel you all need based on seeing your writing and how we're using evidence right now. But I'm also going to kind of help you over here of how I would organize my notes. Okay, note-taking skills is going to go with you much farther than just this building, so I want to be sure that we feel confident doing this. All right. So if I was taking my own notes at the top of my paper, I would put evidence review and theme development. Okay, if you like to color coordinate, amazing, do that. That is how I like to take notes. Otherwise, we can use symbols, circle things, underline, whatever we gotta do. All right, so reiterating, it is a take what you need. So when you see that, you are not expected to write all of this down, okay? It is take what you need, meaning what do you need to remember and review about integrating evidence? Does anybody know what I mean when I say integrating evidence? Does that term ring a bell or phrase? Maybe embedding evidence? Will?
Kind of like putting it into your work smoothly without like just having like a full-on quote in there with no other sentence.
Perfect. Putting your quote in smoothly, right? So meaning it should sound like your own writing, even though it's not, okay? And there's a very simple and easy way to do this. And I'm gonna show you like the level 1 basics for us. And then throughout the rest of the year, we're gonna try and get that to like level 2 and 3, okay? First thing though I wanna point out, there are some rules. If you're writing anything for the evidence review, this should be it. Okay? Again, telling you now, from what I've seen of our writing, we don't know how to do this. So if none of you are writing anything down, that's concerning. Right? If you want to pick and choose what rules, meaning I know how to use evidence, but I don't know how to integrate it, amazing, do that. All right? If I was taking notes, I'd put evidence review as my subtopic. Maybe I don't know what integrate means, so I'm going to write the word integrate. And I'm going to put to the side of it, put into writing smoothly. So that way, when I hear that word, I have an idea of what it means. So again, if you don't know what it means to integrate, you would want to write that down. Do you have a piece of paper? Can I give you a piece of paper? Just because we don't take notes. Give me a writing answer. Okay, so then again, we have our rules here. So maybe to make my rules stand out, I'm going to put a box around it just to kind of highlight it for me. Pick and choose what you need, okay? If you write integrate and put into writing smoothly, but you're not going to remember that one of the rules means it needs to be a complete sentence, write it down. Okay, if you don't know how to put it into a complete sentence because you didn't know it needed an introductory phrase, write that down. pick and choose what notes you're gonna need to best support you. Anything you write down helps you remember it, right? Even if you happen to not look at these again for a couple weeks, I promise it'll help. So introductory phrase, and again, we don't need to write the whole thing, so just write intro phrase. Next to this, if you don't know what an intro phrase is, I'm telling you now, this is level 1, basic style of intro phrase. Most basic level, okay? But if we can at least start doing this, rather than just randomly dropping a quote, we can slowly get to levels 2 and 3. All right, right now what we tend to do is write our topic sentence, start to talk about the story a little bit, and then all of a sudden, boom, I have this random quote, and for some reason we love to choose the longest ones, and it's 4 lines long of the author's writing. Okay, I already know that they can write, so we also need to shorten our evidence to only what we need. Okay, we're not trying to use full sentences as textual evidence. We are picking and choosing parts of a sentence that we could then put into our own sentence using an introductory phrase. All right, so that third rule then is shortening it, right? So much like we say with notes, take what you need, it's the same thing with a quote. Only take what is absolutely essential for your readers to understand, okay? A lot of times, especially when we're using fiction as our textual evidence, there's a whole lot of fluff, right? We get a lot of description within the fiction works that we read. You don't need to include all of that. So I've given you 2 examples here, okay? Both kind of using the same statistics, same quote. The first one being Dr. Smith as kind of like my intro, okay? I'm saying the author and where it's coming from, therefore it is missing in the in-text citation, okay? If you use their name prior to it, you don't have to include it here. Then this just becomes the page number. All right, so Dr. Smith completed a study with over 12,000 participants. That's my introductory phrase. Now I know I'm using somebody else's exact words because I have my quotation marks indicating 75% of individuals have improved behaviors after taking a walk. Those words within the brackets are words that I added to make it actually flow into a sentence. Again, level like 2, when it comes to integrating evidence, we'll get there. All right. Citation goes after, period follows. Okay, another example. You have your introductory phrase without the author's last name, so now that goes to my in-text citation. And I used my own words after the direct quote to make it read as a sentence. This is on campus, so again, not expecting you to write this all down. But if you start writing something that you have to use textual evidence in tomorrow, and you forget how to integrate and need to see it, this will be on Canvas for you, all right? Same thing with the color coding, right? Again, not expecting you to write this down, but it's important for us to be able to see the different parts that are required, all right? Sometimes the easiest way to do that is through colors. So if you also struggle, double check yourself when you use textual evidence and color code it, right? If you're missing a color, you know you did something wrong. Are we following? Questions about integrating evidence? Wanted to do a quick review on this, just based on what I've seen in quarter 1 in our writing, right? A lot of dropped quotes. So now, when I look at your writing and give you feedback, if I put don't drop a quote, what does that mean? What do I mean if I say don't drop a quote? Will?
Don't put quote in without any sort of introduction or intro phrase or anything.
Yeah, don't put it in without that introduction phrase into a complete sentence. Cool? Any questions? Alright, we're gonna move on to part 2 then of our notes, which is theme development. So what would I do in my notes?